This is an M car, and perhaps somewhat controversially, it is also an EV. So, the obvious question here is this a proper and authentic M car? With borders opening up and travel restrictions being lifted, I'm sure everyone's eager to get out of Singapore again and go on holiday again. You know, we've been stuck here for more than 2 years. So I'm now here at Changi Airport because BMW has actually kindly invited us over to Melbourne, Australia, where we'll be going on a little trip, you know, a little road trip of sorts. So mind you, this isn't technically a holiday, at least not for me, because obviously I'm still working. But let me take you along for the experience, just to get a sense of what things are like over in Australia. And perhaps you can also do a trip of your own as well.
Hello!
Australia is a vast country, and one of the best ways to get around and see the various sites is obviously by driving. Road trip is always fun. You can go anywhere you want, stop anywhere you want, and we're going to be driving on the particularly scenic Great Ocean Road. And there's something a little special in store for us. We are going to be driving an M car, though this is an M car that's a little bit different. These are the cars that I'll be driving. They might look the same, but let me assure you that they aren't actually carbon copies of each other. So that is the BMW i4, BMW's first ever all-electric sedan. And it's an EV that I have driven in Singapore, and I do think it's a very, very capable car. This though, this is an M car, and perhaps somewhat controversially, it is also an EV. It is based on an i4 obviously, but it has given the full M treatment. So this is the i4 M50. What does the full M treatment actually mean? Well, let's take a closer look. So compared to the standard i4, some of the visual differences on this i4 M50 includes obviously a pretty prominent M badge up front. We have this front bumper design with these large air intakes. And of course you get laser lights as standard as well. And if we slide on here a little bit, we also have M-specific mirrors as well. Now let's go check out the inside of the car. So as far as the interior is concerned, obviously this is based on the i4, so the interior is pretty much the same. With this M model, obviously we have the M-specific steering wheel, as well as these M seat belts as well. But enough talking, let's go drive these cars. How does this M50 feel on the road? Well, obviously it is ridiculously quick, right? We have 400 kilowatts and 795 Newton meters of torque, which means that 0 to 100 takes 3.9 seconds. But if I'm being honest, it actually feels a lot quicker than that, and that's really because of how immediately that power hits, right? So you just put your foot down and right, it's just instant power, and that, it has all that speed. But obviously the big question then is, how does it handle? Between this and the standard i4, that you can tell that there is definitely a step up in terms of the overall sharpness and alertness of this car. The suspension and chassis has been tuned to be a little bit stiffer, and you can feel that it's not overly uncomfortable, but it definitely helps in terms of the handling. And yes, take this car through a few corners, and it's definitely an M car in the sense that it grips hard, you have plenty of power, and you can really drive it like a hooligan. And it's actually kind of forgiving to you because you have so much traction. It's really hard to break traction in this car. I will say though, one thing I do kind of appreciate about this M50 is the fact that you can really tone it down. So if you just put it into the comfort setting, it really kind of softens up quite nicely. And you can very easily do many miles in this car. And in that sense, you can almost make it feel like a normal i4. The obvious question here is this a proper and authentic M car? And right now I'm tempted to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So I think this i4 M50 has all the necessary qualities of an M car, right? It's very fast, it handles well through corners, and there's that sense of sharpness and alertness that you want out of an M car, and this car definitely has that compared to the standard i4. Is it as exciting as you want an M car to be? Well, maybe, because I think a part of performance is sound, right? Like that oral character really adds to the overall sense of performance. And admittedly, in the i4, it doesn't quite have that. It has its own electric sound, you know, Hans Zimmer and all, and it has this whooshing effect, but it's not quite the same. However, as we all know, electrification is the way ahead, right? This is where the industry is heading, and whether we like it or not, electric performance cars are going to be the future. I must say, this i4 M50 definitely ticks all the right boxes. It is, without doubt, one of the better handling electric cars that I've driven. And, you know, if this is the way forward, if this is what the future of performance motoring holds, I think it's a good sign of things to come. Speaking of the standard i4, I am now driving the i4 eDrive 40, and visually at least it's hard to tell the difference because this car in Australia at least is offered with the M Sport package as standard, and therefore the interior looks pretty much like the M50. The main differences that I've seen so far is the fact that, yeah, the leather is a different color, the trim is, you know, there's some trimming differences, and really the only other difference is the fact that in this one, on the dashboard you get the 3 stripes, whereas in the M50 you actually get an M badge. But on the road it definitely feels different. Obviously it's not as quick, which is not to say that this car isn't quick. I mean, it's still very, very quick and has more performance than you'll need on a day-to-day basis. You know, you put your foot down and still goes like hell. But this is a car that is designed for comfort, and it does that very well. You know, it's rear-wheel drive, so the steering is a little bit lighter, the nose a little bit more eager to turn, but overall, you know, suspension is nice and pliant. You know, it's very quiet on the go, and you know, I'm doing 80 and you don't really hear anything, and that's nice, right? This car really has that effortless quality about it. As far as range goes, well, in this i4 I'm fairly easily doing over 500 km, and even in the M50, you know, you could easily get about 400 km of range. And I think that's plenty, you know. With most modern EVs, you're easily looking at 300 plus km of range, right? And I actually think that's honestly more than most people would want to do in a single sitting, right? You know, how many of you are driving 300 km without stopping? So as and when you do have to stop, that's the time where you recharge, both the car and yourself. Can you road trip an electric car? At least based on my experience in Melbourne, definitely. Yes, you do have to plan ahead slightly as far as knowing where the charging stations are, but the charging network here in Australia is definitely much more robust compared to Singapore right now. And while I know it's unlikely you're going to be able to rent an i4 or an i4 M50 to drive if you do decide to go on a road trip here in Melbourne, be rest assured that regardless of what you drive, doing a road trip in an EV should not scare anybody. So if you want a more in-depth look at the new i4 M50, do check out our first drive story up on sgCarMart.com. Thanks for watching this video, and do like, share and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to see more of our upcoming videos as well. We're also on TikTok, so follow us at sgCarMart. Alright, so that's all I have. I'll see you back in Singapore. Bye!
Yep. Okay.
Hello.
Am I afraid?
Oh.
Oh, it's me waking up. Okay, let's do this.